And if I let to get it by force. The things I did to look for a dispenser role are things that I don't know. It worked. One thing I did was I printed out my CV, and like I remember the first day I started working, and I was like, "Oh, farm Kazim," and then you're like, "What?"
You're welcome to my channel, and I am super elated for this particular content. And if you ask me why, it's because today I've got with me a guest, a beautiful colleague who was trained as a pharmacist in Nigeria, but currently resides in the United Kingdom. And guess what? This my colleague moved to the UK in 2021, and she never did care job. Like, how? You never worked in care. And after like 1 month that she moved in, she eventually got a job as a pharmacy dispenser in the United Kingdom. And I know that on my other channel, a lot of people have been asking, how is it possible? Even me, once I knew that I was coming to the UK, I started making research, and all the information I got online were very sketchy. And guys, let me tell you, I've got intelligent people watching me. My subscribers are well informed. So she's a subscriber, and then she reached out to me saying, "Oh, what else do you need to know about being a dispenser?" All that. She wanted to give me more information, and I said, "No, it would be very unfair and selfish of me to get all this vital information alone without sharing with you people." Then I sought her indulgence to please come here and do this with me, and she agreed. So please bless her for me in the comment section. So today we have the honor of hearing from pharmacist Adekemi Sola of the United Kingdom, who is currently a pharmacy dispenser. And guys, it is not over. She's got so many portfolios, because this video is going to be in 2 sections, because she's also resuming University of Hertfordshire come September to embark on her ospap conversion program. Like, I don't know, I don't have so much swag. It's doing me like I should take a microphone, but unfortunately my microphone is nowhere to be found. Like, I really want to allow this. Guys, share this video, like this video, because I am 100%, in fact 101% sure that so many people need this information online. So she's going to be sharing how she got a dispenser job, everything you need to know about working as a dispenser in the United Kingdom, as well as how to go about your ospap admission. So welcome with me to the studio, pharmacist Adekemi Sola. First of all, can we meet you? Where do you reside in the UK? Because somebody might be wondering, oh, it's because of her location that she got the job. I've been trying, I didn't get the job. Where do you live in the UK?
So I currently stay in Bradford. Yes, Bradford in West Yorkshire. That's like 45 minutes, 50 minutes from Manchester.
Oh, okay. And what company do you work with? What pharmacy do you work with in the UK?
So I currently work with Eightlands Limited. So they are a pharmacy that has like 8 branches. So I work in one of their branches in Batley.
So now that we know that you work as a pharmacy dispenser, I know that somebody might be watching and be wondering, is it only foreign trained pharmacists that can come to the UK to get a job as a dispenser? Can I, as a biochemist, or maybe a medical lab scientist, or a physiotherapist, or a biologist, can I also look for a dispenser job? Like, is it only for foreign trained pharmacists?
No, it's not only for foreign trained pharmacists, but to my knowledge, I think if you are not a foreign trained pharmacist, the likelihood of them saying you should be a trainee dispenser is very high. And the thing about trainees in the UK is you most likely be getting, last year it was £4.50 and now it's £5.26 to be an apprentice in the UK. So if they employ you as a trainee dispenser, you'll be earning that amount and you'll be trained for like a period of a year. They enroll in different, like there are different companies that do these courses. There's Buttercups, there's Profamans. So the pharmacy you go to will enroll you in that, and then, but they'll be paying you £5 something, which is not the jackpot plan. And even sometimes, some pharmacies insist that even a foreign trained pharmacist has to go through that process.
Oh. So are you saying that there's a difference between a pharmacy dispenser trainee and a pharmacy dispenser apprentice? Because
trainee and apprentice are the same thing.
Oh, really?
Trainee, apprentice are the same thing, and then pharmacy dispenser, you're already working as a pharmacy dispenser.
But I've actually seen ads like a pharmacy dispenser trainee and
Yes.
then pharmacy dispenser or counter apprentice. And the
So
last
there are
interview
two
I
types.
went
There's
for,
pharmacy dispenser and then there's medicine counter assistant. So in the pharmacy setting, the medicine and counter assistant is the one that stays in the OTC area. I think that's the best way for me to explain it.
okay,
So there are some people that are limited to only the OTC areas. They are medicine counter assistants.
okay,
Most times for those in the UK is for their people that just finished high school. Sometimes if you want to start the training course, you start at you the first course you will do is medicine counter assistant course. For instance, when I started working, even if I didn't come in as a trainee, my boss is like a crash course for me. And the first course was medicine counter assistant course. So that's like level one. And then level two, you will now be moved to where prescription only medications are, and that's the pharmacy dispenser role.
okay. So before you got this job, did you have like NVQ two? Because I have attended personally some interviews where they requested for NVQ certificate.
No, I don't. I think what I was lucky to go to a church where I found a pharmacist like trained in the UK, working in the UK, and then I asked her what is NVQ2, and she told me it's literally like a course that they do in like 200 level, like it's just a dispenser course, and that if you have a pharmacy degree, it's supposed to be higher than an NVQ2. But the
Mm,
truth is that most companies they employ through HR personnel. And for HR personnel in the Yoruba way, words, go logbo but come. All they know is
mm,
that NVQ2 is what we're looking for, the end.
mm,
If you have it, yes. If you don't have it, no. Which is why I usually advise people that these large chains pharmacies, them Boots, them Lloyds, they might not be as welcoming to foreign trained pharmacists because what they are looking for is what they are looking for. I
mm,
didn't have an NVQ2, but I went to an independent pharmacy, presented my University of Lagos certificates, and I did an interview and I tried to, defend my knowledge during the interview. Tried as much as possible not to speak like a pharmacist, but more as a
mm,
dispenser, because that is
mm.
very important to them. They want to be sure that you would not cross your boundary as a pharmacy dispenser. Because even in the pharmacy role, even as a pre-reg, there are some things you can't do. So they want to be sure that you would just be a dispenser. And I think I just got it.
You spoke about independent pharmacists, and somebody might not understand what that means. What do you mean by independent pharmacist?
So independent pharmacies are like pharmacies owned by a family or a person. Usually there are all these pharmacies that their names are not popular pharmacies. Like let me use Nigeria as an example. In Nigeria now, a Med Plus, a Health Plus, a those ones are like long chain pharmacies. So they're like the Boots of the UK, the Lloyds of the UK. Independent pharmacies like a regular random pharmacy that one person just started or maybe a family started, they might have two branches, they might have three branches, they might have five branches. What
The
happens
whole of the
sometimes is,
UK.
yes, most of those independent pharmacies cannot really afford, quote unquote, to have an HR person. So most times when you are invited for an interview, you most likely meet the owner of the pharmacy
Mm.
or the pharmacist in charge of the pharmacy. And it's easier to explain yourself pharmacist to pharmacist, if you understand what I'm saying. So they will understand that even though you are foreign trained, you are a pharmacist. So you can really express yourself more to them and they are more likely to take a chance on you.
So, guys, I actually met a senior colleague as well after I shared one video of me starting to clean in the UK after my BPharm degree in Nigeria. And that senior colleague reached out to me and then she shared her CV with me. And it was a CV that I edited and then with which I started looking for a pharmacy dispenser job. And fortunately enough, I was scheduled for several interviews with Lloyd's Pharmacy, with Boots Pharmacy, Newham, with Roland's Pharmacy. And I attended all these interviews and I must have shared my interview question maybe before this video will be up. So, guys, there are a set of skills that are required of a pharmacy dispenser. So, from Kemi, what are the skill sets and what experiences, now that you've been working as a pharmacy dispenser for over a year now?
Yeah.
So, what do you do on a daily basis? Can you give us an insight as to what your roles are? Because I believe that if we understand what a pharmacy dispenser does, then we'll be able to tackle some of these interview questions better.
Yes.
It's quite different from where we are coming from. Like I shared with you, when I was asked some questions, I answered just like a pharmacist. And you said that we should try as much as possible to limit our responses to being a dispenser, not a pharmacist. So, what do you do on a daily basis as a dispenser? And what are the skill sets that are required of a dispenser in the UK?
Yeah, before I answer that, I just like to reference what you said about the CV. Tailoring your CV to be as a dispenser is very key. Because if you CV as pharmacist in charge, I was running, in charge of registration, in charge of this, they would not see what they're looking for in the CV. So just make sure that your CV is mostly dispensing this, giving out medications and things like that. So back to the question of what we do day to day. So for my pharmacy, let me use that. There are different roles that are done all the time. So in our pharmacy, what we do is every day you do a new thing. So like I said, there's a medicine counter assistant, but sometimes there might not be a medicine counter assistant on duty. So one of the dispensers will be at the OTC region. So what that person does is collect medications that come in for the OTCs, mark them up like we normally do in Nigeria, label them with prices. They are the ones that would speak to the patients when they come in, welcome them, ask them what they are here for. They come for their medication, pick it up at the shelves where we keep all the medications. So that's the person that stays in front. And also gives advice about regular ailments, eczema, cough, pain, things that you're allowed to give medications for in the pharmacy. And also, the person there also has limitations. For the elderly, those on other medications, pregnant women, children should always refer to the pharmacist on duty. That's those in front. Then at the back, where the prescription only medications are, there are different things that are done. One of it is dosette boxes. So these are boxes that you give to the elderly people or people in care home that has like morning, afternoon, tea time, and dinner. And that's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to Sunday. So it's like a 1 week tray where you put their medications depending on the time they're taking it. That's a batch of people. Another batch, that person does is receiving orders. So when orders come in, you bring it out, confirm the expiry date, check that it was ordered, check that it's the right quantity. And there's some medications called specials, which the pharmacy doesn't necessarily stock. So you check that there's a prescription for that particular medication at that particular time. So that's what does. Then there is labeling and dispensing. So that's the person that stays on the systems. NHS medications everything is online. So every person has a GP that they picked and a pharmacy that they picked. So once you go to your GP and your medication is sent to your GP, it's automatically sent to the pharmacy that you selected before. So all those medications come into our system in the morning. We bring it out. We check for interactions. We check that it is appropriate. We check the dose, and then it's dispensed and labeled. Without labeling, another pharmacy dispenser takes it, goes to the shelf, picks it up from the shelf, puts the label on it, and gives it to the pharmacist. And the pharmacist checks it. Dispenser bags it up, puts it on the shelf. Most times, most pharmacies arrange their medications in alphabetical order. So that when the patient comes in, you can say, oh, what's your name? My name is this, this, this. Oh, what's your surname? It starts with A, pick it up and give the patient. There's another dispenser that might be in charge of making orders over the phone, checking any drugs that are out of stock. Because what I notice here is that, unlike, I don't know how it is where you practice in Nigeria, where we're very easy to say we don't have. We don't have is very limited, and it's a big deal. The likelihood of a patient leaving the pharmacy without a medication that they require is very slim. It's like 1 in 100. So then another pharmacy, there's a dispenser that would call any out of stock that's available. Sometimes you even have to call the patient to tell them, oh, we're sorry, your prescription that came in today is out of stock. We're working on it. It will be available on Tuesday. If you cannot come in for it on Tuesday, we're going to deliver it to you on Tuesday. There's another pharmacist that does that. What else? Pharmacy dispenser, sorry. And there are administrative duties that you do. End of day, you count how many prescriptions you've done. Yeah, and there are also services. I forgot that. Blood pressure check, blood sugar check, PCR COVID-19 checks, flu vaccinations, smoking cessation. Like for me now, I had to do a course on smoking cessation. So the different types of nicotine replacement therapy that is done. So yeah, I think that's majorly it. Something else we do called discharge medicine service. That's called DMS. It's the pharmacist that does it, but sometimes you can shadow the pharmacist when they are doing it, so you learn how to do it. When a person that is on maybe a regular medication from the GP goes to the hospital and is being discharged from the hospital, most times the hospital will write a new prescription. Sometimes you have to what's the word, reconcile that prescription with their former medication, then send any changes you see to the GP pharmacist to verify.
I must say, you do a lot. And
So
that's
the
why
thing is, there's like a quote unquote roster. So what you do today is not what you do tomorrow, is not what you do the next day. So today you might be at the counter, the day after tomorrow you might be the one doing orders. And sometimes it's not really, for instance, if you're the one doing orders, no, it's not like orders coming all day long. So you can do orders in the morning and then join the person dispensing and then be the same person to make the phone call if you're lesbian. So
I think that's why in most of interviews that I attended, they will ask you what role you have played as a team,
yes, it's a big
what,
deal.
what you've been able to achieve as a team in the past, and if how well you can work as an individual. So you should be able to work as a team and as an individual, and that leads me to the skill set of a dispenser.
Hammer on is the teamwork, attention to details, good communication skills, realizing confidentiality. They take that very seriously. Confidentiality is very serious. The way I would answer this question is more from an interview point of view when you're being interviewed. Because truthfully, for you to be a foreign trained pharmacist, you have the skill sets. You know, there's nothing extra you have to do to be able to work as a dispenser. Because from what I've said, there are things that we do in our practice in Nigeria. It might not be as detailed, but you have it in you. So now what you are doing is how do you present those skill sets during an interview to show that you can work as a pharmacy dispenser. One thing you
Numeracy skill, literacy skill.
funny enough, numeracy, you don't. It's more for a pharmacist.
Um,
The dispensers don't really do all this. 10 milligram per kilogram, blah blah blah. Is more most of those things are already quote unquote simplified, because from what I know in hospital practice is that even before a prescription is sent to us, the pharmacist in the GP
Whoa,
has
the calculation.
verified medication, has done the calculation. So what they are
Mm,
sending to us is literally 10 meals 3 times a day.
mm, 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 mm. Okay, all
So
right.
when I said we call they call the GP sometimes when we don't have a medication, who we are calling in the GP is the pharmacist of the GP, not the doctor.
Oh, okay.
Most times it's even the pharmacist that does a replacement. So we hardly ever do any calculations like that because there are pharmacists in the GP that do that before it's now forwarded.
Thank you so much. Finally, if you don't mind, this question is actually optional. You can choose to answer it and you can choose to skip it. Majority of the adverts are on Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Like while we're speaking, you mentioned something and I really wanted to mention it again. What advice do you have for people that are looking for dispenser roles, that are applying on Indeed? Should they keep sending their CVs on Indeed, or the other one you told me about? And then this optional question is, how much do dispensers earn? Just give us a range.
When it comes to getting a job, I feel like for me, I use the Bible verse of the kingdom of God and if I let to get it by force. The things I did to look for a dispenser role are things that I don't know. It worked. One thing I did was I printed out my CV and I was dropping it from pharmacy to pharmacy. I would just enter a bus to a particular location, find pharmacies around, and just be going everywhere. Good afternoon, Nigerian trained pharmacists. Good afternoon, Nigerian trained pharmacists. But luckily for me, the way I got the one I'm doing currently was I realized that if you go to Indeed and you put that you don't have NBQ, they literally just cancel your application from that point. So what I did was go to Indeed, find the pharmacies around me that are looking for dispensers, find their direct email address, and send my CV to them. Sometimes I could even go on LinkedIn, write the name of the pharmacy. If I could find their CEO, chief pharmacist, somebody working there, send my CV, introduce myself, and send my CV directly to them. That was also another thing I did. Those two things work. Because even after I got my job, one of the places I submitted physically called me up. I was like, oh, I already have a place.
So you got two dispenser jobs actually.
Yes. And that I realized about them here is they like to see that you are planning to grow and you want to stay with them.
Hmm.
So when they ask you what your 5 year plan is, that's not when for you to say, oh, I want to do my ospap and then move to London. You are going to look for how to tailor your 5 year plan into how it will be beneficial to their business. So when you say, oh, I want to go for my OSPAP, I want to become a pharmacist, and my aim is to work with you as a pharmacist, and after I will become a pharmacy manager with you, they see some form of growth and how they are going to gain and benefit from you being there. Because there's actually a pharmacist scarcity
Sure.
in the UK, shortage. So to them, it's like, oh, this person is going to be a pharmacist and she's here already. Okay, let me just take her so that in 2, 3 years, there'll be a benefit of this person being in my pharmacy. Range of pay. Range of pay has changed. You know, it changed in April.
I just got here in March. So
So
I wouldn't
every April, there's a new minimum wage. So
know.
prior to April, the rate of pharmacist dispenser, I think, was £9.50 to about £11, depending on your experience. So when I started, I was on minimum wage, but my salary has increased twice. For the first 3 months, I was on probation, and that's when I did that my mental counter assistant course, all the courses I said I crashed did. I did a lot of courses during that period of time, and then I did an appraisal, and then there was an increase, and then this April again there was another increase, and this increase I even had is on me being even on maternity leave. So I don't know what it's going to be now when I go back. But the range is usually between minimum wage. What I know from experience, they start with minimum wage, and after a while, based on your appraisal and how long you worked with them, they now go higher than minimum wage. But right now, I think the range is between £10.42, which is the minimum wage, and about £11. Good thing again is that you can be working as after you work for like a year, you can get yourself registered in pharmacy dispenser locum agencies. So you'll be working as your normal job, and you can be doing locuming as a pharmacist dispenser, and those ones pay as high as £14 an hour.
If you have any question, feel free to let us know in the comment section because obviously she's coming back after now. By the time she's done with her OSPAP, she's done with her pre-reg exam, and she has become a licensed pharmacist, Pharmacy Kevin, you're coming back.
Oh yeah, that thing you just mentioned now is actually something I wanted to mention. The working culture here is very funny, and it's how nobody calls anybody farm anything. Is that's very funny to me. That we call our pharmacist on the first name, we call our CEO on the first name basis, we call everybody on the first name basis. And like I remember the first day I started working, I was like, "Oh, Farm Kazim," and then they're like, "What?"
Wow, wow. It was really nice speaking with you. Thank you
Thank
so much.